Hello everybody, and this is day 15 of 21, which I didn't realise that I had forgotten to record until after day 17. So it took me a little while to go back and find that day 15 was missing. So I'm happy that I found it. So let's start today's practice with 3 minutes of breathing technique. So let's find a nice comfortable position. Seated, preferably. If you want to lie down, you can. I'm going to practice another technique. It's very simple. It's called pyramid breath. So what we're going to do, if you imagine the shape of a pyramid is a nice triangle. So we want to breathe in, draw that side of the triangle, and then breathe out, draw the other side of the triangle. So we want to make sure that both sides of the triangle are equal, so the inhale matches the exhale. And then what we're going to do is build those pyramids on top of each other until we've built quite a big pyramid, so the breath would be much longer and matching the exhale. So let's begin. So try to roll the shoulders back a few times. Find your center, find that nice point where you know you can sit for a couple minutes comfortably. Bring your hands onto your belly and just find that position that allows your belly to expand on the inhale, so you're not holding it too tight, but also you're not flopping forward. So again, just that neutral position for the belly. A couple of reset breaths. Any movements you need to do before we start? And let's start. We're going to build 6 pyramids, so we're going to start together on the smallest pyramid and move up to the biggest pyramid. So when you're ready, it's a small inhale, visualizing exhaling that second side of the pyramid. Breathing in again, slightly larger this time, really visualizing the side of the pyramid as you breathe in. It draws just on top of the previous one, breathe out and down. The next one's going to go on top of the previous 2, breathing in for a bit longer and out. And the 4th one, breathing in and matching that length of breath on the out, all the way to the end. The 5th one, breathing in, trying to just pop it just a little bit bigger than the one before, and breathing out. And the last one, nice and big, biggest pyramid, nice and slow, slowly builds it. And out. So we actually did that one sort of successively after each breath, adding another pyramid. You can play around with that technique. You can also just visualize one size and kind of just draw 6 in a circle. So if you really like visualization, if it helps your mind to draw things when you're breathing to bring you into that, to anchor you in, then you can play around with that technique pretty well for that one. So today is a theoretical session. I wanted to have a chat with you about a concept which came up for me when I very first started meditating. I may have mentioned this in the beginning, that one of the objectives with our meditation practice is to observe the present moment as it is without judgment or reaction. So I think most of us would agree we're still working on that one, because life will throw lots of things at you. Our thoughts will throw lots of things at us. People and things around us will always challenge us. So we are always working and practicing to reduce our reactions to things, especially if those reactions are almost flippant or without thought, or just reactive in that way where we just don't think it through before it happens. So instead of us trying to cross that huge river of not reacting to anything, and we want to find some bridges that help us to get across, it's nice to think about learning or focusing on responding instead of reacting. Now, this is not just about conversations with people or situations with people. It can be with ourselves as well. In fact, that's kind of where I would like to keep the focus, is not reacting to our own thoughts, feelings in that irrational way, in that momentary way, and start to find ways to respond to those things. So what is the actual difference between a reaction and a response? Because a response is a sort of a reaction in itself, but it's a nice stepping stone between not reacting and reacting. Because with a response, the difference is we perhaps have taken some time to observe a situation, we've weighed up the odds, we've not let something get to us that we know usually sparks an emotion. And if that's a self-judgment perhaps, or a thought, you know how we sometimes have crazy thoughts in the moment and we think, where did that come from? If I had waited 10, 15 minutes, maybe I wouldn't have acted on that thought, for example. So we're cultivating that ability to respond instead of react. So in your journal, in your notebook, can you, if you don't mind, write down an example of a time or a thing or a person, or even your thoughts or something also within you that does challenge you and that you find it difficult not to react to. So it could be my insecurities. When they pop up, I act on them. Could be some guilt about something. I always pops up and I act on it straight away. So pause the video if you want to and take some time to write down a couple of things that you know make you react. When you have this list, or even if it's just one thing, what I'd like you to focus on today is start noticing when you do react to that. So we're going to bring some kind attention to these incidents that make us react. And we want to start observing those, because Eckhart Tolle also says that in that kind of battle to become more aware, just the fact that we can acknowledge, that we can observe ourselves doing those things that we deem unhelpful, it can be a little bit like a fire extinguisher. It can sometimes extinguish it altogether. So let's not look at this as a practice to stop reacting, but how about a practice to start observing our reactions? And that will lead us to being able to come up with ways to respond instead of react. So I don't want to throw too much at you in this one session. The session is a little bit about observing our reactions, but if you feel you can take that step further and start looking to see how you could respond instead of react in those moments, then go ahead and do that. Perhaps in your next meditation session, you can observe some moments where your emotions reacted. So this can go into many different directions. So I think for you personally, there'll be a direction you'd like to take this practice. You'll probably know straight away where you could use this practice of observing your reactions, and try to reflect as much as you can on how that's going in the next couple of days, especially if that's within your meditation practice or you're doing some other practices like that. And if it is with a person or it's with a situation and it is quite difficult, remember that the idea is to shine lots and lots of compassion and kindness and acceptance onto yourself. And remember that feeling guilty that something didn't work, or you didn't do it, or it didn't happen, or you reacted, it doesn't work. It's much better if we approach this from a nice, kindness direction. So I will leave you with that today. Any questions, let me know. Thank you.